Well, likes, views, shares, and comments are the first things that you see when you put up a video on YouTube or Vimeo to share on your website or whatever social channels that you put on. It is not the only metrics that help you determine if a video is successful or not, because likes, shares, and views for most businesses don't pay the bills. Well, for some businesses, that's all it is, and that's good enough for their business model. But for the rest of us, you need to know if a video they put up is effective or not. So today I'm going to share with you the one metrics that is very important over and beyond the views and likes and shares and subscribes to help you make better videos or more effective videos. So you can see that on YouTube, when you are in your video and you go into the analytics, you'll be presented with information like this. So you know your views, which is great. Obviously some people, the higher the number is better, but higher doesn't always mean that having a lot of people watch it doesn't mean that your video is doing very well. Having lots of likes doesn't also mean that it is working very well, because the thing that will determine if someone is actually watching and doing what you want them to do is this thing called the retention rate, which you find a little further down in your analytics. You'll find this analytics here called the audience retention, both on YouTube and also on Vimeo. See the viewer retention? It's the same thing on both. But let's just have a look at YouTube's retention information. You can click on the see more and you get a more detailed information, timeline. If you play the video, you'll be able to see how your audience are watching you over time, or you can just scroll through it, right? You can see now we're at so we start off at 137%. I know it's strange to say, why is there 137 people watching, percentage of people watching it? It's actually the number of times people actually rewatch this bit. So it can be higher than 100%, because if the same person comes and watch twice at the start, it actually bumps up the number beyond 100%. So if you can see that it's quite a regular curve downwards, and it ends off at around 40% at the end of it. So I know that about 40% of the people who started watching watch all the way to the end. This is actually not a bad result. It's not great. You want a result that ends at somewhere around 60% and upwards. It's impossible for any video to have 100% watch rate. Almost impossible. Of course, I'm not saying there's no video out there with 100% watch rate, but it's almost impossible. So what you're trying to get is something that's gradual and it reaches 100%, around 60 to 70% at the end. You can see on this video that I have on Vimeo, it is quite a dramatic drop after 8 seconds. There's a bump up. Same thing here. Why is there a bump up here? It means that someone has rewatched this more than once, and which is why there's a sudden increase in view and then it drops off again. So how do you use this information to help you make better videos? Well, first of all, like I said, this is a pretty normal slide, right? But you can see a sharp drop after the 4th second and it starts dropping off dramatically. This shows that for most videos, your hook should be at the start of the video. The hook is the thing that draws people to keep on watching. If your hook is not strong, you start to see people dropping off very quickly. For example, which you can see here. After 4 or 5 seconds, it drops dramatically. I lose a lot of audience quite dramatically after the first hook, and then it drops even more at this point. So now if you're watching the video as you're seeing this track along, you realize that you'll see which part of the video people are dropping off, and that gives you an indication of what's happening at the point of time in the video. And you can then understand if people are dropping off there, it could mean several things. So if they're dropping off at, say, the hook, which is around this point of the video, you know the hook is not strong to make them want to watch further. This is the same for this video. People are rewatching the hook, but then they very quickly drop off here as well. It means that the hook is not strong enough to keep them watching. But having said that, more than 50% of people continue watching for more than half the video. So what does that mean? over here. So there's enough, the information is strong enough for people to keep watching. And if this continue tracking on at the 50%, it's actually not too bad. It means that usually what this means, if there's a sharp drop off halfway through a video, which you do see for this one, there's a strong indication to you that the hook may be strong, people are watching on, but whatever you're telling them in the middle, which is the story of your video, isn't paying off the hook that you had at the start. So you have a strong hook, and people think that you're giving them a certain type of information, but as they watch on, they realize that the information is not actually coming, or you're not giving them enough hints that it will pay off. The information is going to pay off at the end. So people drop off before they even finish watching to the end. And this is what happened for this video. Where for this one, while most of the people dropping off at this point, it stays consistent in the middle, and closer to the end where you start to get to your call to action, it drops off again. What this indicates is that the initial drop off is probably of people who thought this was this was what they wanted to hear, but not really yet. So the initial audience drop is most likely people who don't think that this information is useful, so they're dropping off. So what's remaining, this 50% of people are finding this information useful, so they continue watching. And as it further drops off, it's not too bad. What this indicates is that it's actually not a bad attrition, and the information is there. I just might want to make the end of this video or the call to action a bit stronger, or pay off at this point, so that it keeps the retention of this video up. Same for this one. The hook is good. The hook is not strong enough, so I need to strengthen the hook in the first place. So I can probably re-edit the video to give a stronger hook to make people want to watch this further on. It actually is a good indication that it jumps up again, because there are a few people who actually did want to watch this again to make sure that they are not missing something at the hook. And they come back in and they realize, oh, okay, no, this is not what I want to watch. That's why many people drop off. And again, before they even get to the end of the video. So what I'm trying to share here is that knowing your number of views, and I have 43 views. Of this 43 views, this is not a fantastic video to start off with, right? For 43 views, it's not a good, fantastic indication of that people are watching it, or my distribution strategy is not great enough that enough people are watching it. So if this low number of views will really tell me that my distribution strategy is weak. Couple that with, but beyond that, if I can improve my distribution strategy, this will then give me an indication of how do I want to improve my distribution strategy. A lot of people are dropping off after the start. It means that I'm trying to figure out what the people who are watching this are probably not the right people. That's why there's a sharp drop off at the start. So I might need to fine-tune my target audience again when I start redistributing this video, tweak the hook at the start to really target the audience that I want before redistributing it. And once I start redistributing it with the new hook at the start, I might see this improve, or I might see this drop, and that will really then give me another indication of whether I'm doing it right or not. So using this audience retention rate and your number of views, likes, and subscribes will give you a very strong indication of whether your video is effective or not, and what you can do to improve it in your next iteration.